I'm back. I've got all of my bell peppers cut up. And you see they have a lot of different varieties of colors and shapes and sizes, okay? I've also picked out several tomatoes that I'm going to put in there. I've got a couple heirloom, a couple of yellow, a big orange one. I might cut that in half, but not normally I don't. A big regular one and some grape ones. That's just going to add a dimension. I'm going to show those of you who are new to cooking how to cut an onion. So first of all, you cut off the end that looks like this, okay? Cut that end off. That's going to leave you with the end that keeps it all together. Okay? Set it down on your cutting board with the cut side down, and you're going to want to cut not all the way to the center, okay? So like just close to the center, and cut all the way down. There's also another way that you can cut it is like this, but I like to hold it together with that. So we're going to just peel the skin off of here. The skin in the first layer, it's usually tough. But like I said, if we were back in the Depression again, where you very rarely got anything to cook with at all, use everything you got. Not the skin, but the first layer. We're spoiled right now. Okay, so you got this. You're going to cut it this way, okay? Ah, my oven is ready. That was quick. I set my oven at 375. See if I can do this without cutting myself. Okay, once you've cut it in half this way, then you're going to make little stripes down this way. Don't take it all the way to the back though, and just go all the way down. The bigger the stripes, the bigger your chunks are going to be, okay? So I want it kind of chunky because not only is it going to get roasted, but after it's roasted, it's going in the crock pot for a couple hours, okay? So we may or may not eat this tonight, because I got a late start and everything is going slow because of the recording. Okay. So now you have what you call nice big chunks. See? Pretty big chunks. You can even make them bigger than that if you want to. So this is something that you need to experiment with. Don't be afraid of it. Let's peel off this skin and the first layer. You're going to want to adapt it to what you like, okay? This is just the rough idea. Then the second and third time you make it, you're going to refine it down to your own liking. This first layer is really tough on this onion. I love onions. I usually buy the Maui sweet onions, but for something like this, you want something that the flavor is going to hold up with lots of cooking. Okay. So we got the root end holding it together. That's the root end. I'm going to cut this in half, the other direction, taking my knife towards the root. okay? Now be very careful, wiggle your knife, kind of wiggle it a little bit. Now that's all the way half through, see? Now I'm going to cut big chunks this way, big stripes rather, this way, because I want a rough cut. Rough cut means chunky. Fine cut means chop it really small. And Julia Child, when she first started cooking, see now I got nice big chunks. That'll all cook down. When Julia Child first started cooking, she would buy huge bags of onions and just cut bags and bags of onions until she could get it really uniform, all the same size and shape, because that's what was required in the French cooking culinary. I know the name of the school, but it eludes my putting my finger on it. All right, so let's get busy with the cooking portion, right? We've been chopping, and this one, ooh, is pungent, and my eyes are kind of watering up now. You won't get that with a sweet one. All right, so we're going to take one of your pans, okay? I just see I went blurry all of a sudden. Did it get, yeah, it straightened itself out. Okay. Okay. And where did my mixing bowl go? I showed you my mixing bowl. Where'd it go? Anyhow, we'll just do it in here. So what you're going to want to do to roast: olive oil, drizzle. If I had it in one of my, like I keep my coconut oil in one of those bottles, and it's got just a little, I don't want to get carried away with the oil here. And I should have told you, when you do the eggplant, you sprinkle it heavily with regular salt, not the kosher salt. The kosher salt goes in here. Just a light sprinkle. Now if you got fresh garlic, bust it out and sliver it. And mix some of the slivers in with this. I'm going to use this garlic, and I always do this, is when I open it up, I always take a little piece of paper towel, I squeeze it, and I let a little come out, and then I wipe it off. Okay, so what we're starting to use is some of the garlic that was further back in the tube. It's not spoiled, what's in the front of the tube, but it could have got hard and dry. So I'm just going to squeeze. Let me show you on my knife how much I will use. I will use this much of that paste for just, that's just for this little dab of bell peppers. Stir it in with the olive oil. Get it stirred around. Fresh garlic's even better. Just peel it and slice it into some chunks and stir it around in here. Or you can smash it. You put some salt and use the back of your knife. And you can you can YouTube that and learn that if you haven't learned how to do the garlic into a paste with salt. Now I stirred that all up, so we're just going to turn it out into our pan. Kind of spread it out. This is actually going to be a little bit of a small batch because this cooks down. See? Okay. Don't have them all bunched up. Have them spread out. And we're going to put it in the preheated 375 oven. Might give it a little grate of this. I got a basil grinder. If I had the Italian herbs in my tube, I would have put a little bit in there too. It keeps going out of focus. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, I'm going to put this in my oven. All right, let's prep another pan, okay, with our onions. And how about our zucchini? I'll go get our zucchini. Oh, this is really hot. Yeah, I think onions and zucchini. I'll be right back. Let me pause this. Pause. See, with long fingernails you can't. Okay, we're back. Well, I'm kind of sort of back. Okay, I got my big bowl. I want to put my zucchini in here. Those kind of sort of were draining a little bit too. Let me get my paper towels. I'll put this. As you can tell, I'm going to have a mess of dishes to do, but that's okay. Let's pat dry the zucchini because they were draining in that colander too. I did not salt them. Excuse me, I did not salt them. I didn't eat lunch either, and it's almost 2 o'clock. So I'm kind of sort of getting hungry. I haven't even drank my water, which is bad. So I'm going to mix in the onions. Of course, at your house you wouldn't have to make all these different bowls because you wouldn't be making a video. But that's okay. Now, again, with the olive oil, we can just sprinkle it like this. Let's live dangerously. Okay. And a little bit of garlic. Layer, layer, layer. Don't do a lot in one thing. Just do a little bit in everything. And it layers the flavors, and that's what makes a difference and makes it taste really homemade. Some pepper and some kosher salt because I did not salt the zucchini. And stir. So we're wanting to get that stir-in paste of garlic all throughout the onions and the zucchini. Okay. Sorry, I'm not looking up at you. I don't want this to go flying out the bowl. Oh, and when you go to wash your vegetables, if you don't have a special vegetable and fruit wash that you spray on it or add to the water to soak it, you can add vinegar to the water and soak it for a couple of minutes and then briskly rub the outside of the fruit or vegetable under cold running water. You want to get all of the pesticides and germs. Sometimes like slugs or snails will, this onion is a little bit large. Where's my knife? Snails like to crawl on certain type of vegetables, and they can leave a little slime, and that can cause some of that rat lung kind stuff. So being a disease. Okay, turning it out onto the other baking sheet. Now we want to watch this and not cook it too much because you don't want the onions to get bitter by over browning, okay? So even if the zucchini is not browned, now this is a much fuller, so it's going to be kind of soupy when I take it out. Let me show you. Okay. All right. Oh, I forgot pepper. A little bit of pepper. Then I'll talk to you once I stick this in the oven here, because I wanted to tell you a few things. Oh, those bell peppers are already smelling good. Something like this that cooks very quickly and it's really tender and it will break down fast, maybe don't even need to have much time. That's why I'm going to mix it in with the, this is the eggplant. It's kind of soft in the first place, and I don't want it to turn too mushy, so anyhow, I'm going to put the tomatoes in with that. Let me use that one paper towel off the roll. I got that on the top of my oven. I'm going to have to use pot holders to move that crock pot because it's hot tamale. Oh, okay. Let's let that cool down. I put it on Dennis's part of the couch. Okay, so I rinsed off the salt of the eggplant, and you're going to want to kind of lightly pat the eggplant, okay? And just kind of dry it. But you don't have to take each piece and go, I'm drying you off. No, you don't have to do that. Just dab a little bit, okay? Now this will probably still have retained, oopsie, some of the salt. That'll be curious to see whether one of the dogs endeavors to try to eat the raw eggplant. I don't think they're going to. Okay, so this probably retains some of the salt that I soaked it in, even though I rinsed it with cold water. So we're not going to salt this one. So when one of those trays is empty, then we'll put this stuff on it. Let's put it in here so I can mix it with the, with the oil and the other stuff. Okay? Okay, okay. I'm going to have to sit in a chair at the sink to do all these dishes. I'm getting a little hungry, but I don't know what I can make easily unless it's one of those pumpkin Pop-Tarts. Since we got to get rid of them anyway, right? Ah, it doesn't like to focus. What's up with that? Okay. So when those peppers come out, I'm going to put it in that bowl. Okay, got it in my head. Or I can put it directly in the crock pot. Nope, I don't want it in the bottom. Okay, sorry. Just a little conversation with myself. Now when we go to put it in the crock pot, oh my goodness, we had a spill of water down the side of my oven. Wow, that was a big spill. I'm going to put, this is my favorite wine, Livingston Red Rosé. I'm going to put maybe just 1/4 of a cup, just a tiny little splash, just for flavor. And of course that'll cook down. So that's something that I add because I like it, okay? You might not want to add that flavor. It's okay. You don't have to. I like to use Bertolli, tomato and basil, just a little splash. And if it looks like it's too runny when we mix it up, I might like to add some tomato paste. Now I like this tomato paste. It's from Italy. It comes in a tube. It doesn't take as much as your canned tomato paste. And this is so unique. This stays fresh, provides a bold flavor and a bright color to stews, soups, and sauces. And you can use it with their garlic paste that they have. Let's see, it's the finest ingredients from our Italian chefs capture and seal the intense flavors into every tube. And it also has basil, garlic. It's got a little anchovy, chili pepper, garlic, pesto. Oh, these are the other varieties. Hello. I was going to say, I never noticed that it tasted like anchovy before. It's vegan. It's a product of Italy, and it's non-GMO, double concentrated, okay? So now when you open it, it's got like a little foil over there, and you have to take this pointy thing and make a puka in the foil so you can squeeze it out. This will stay for a long time in your pantry if you like to keep things, all your staples available. This says it's good. Oh, it doesn't even have an expiration date. Well, you weren't supposed to end yet. Okay, bake, 375, start. Okay, so once you open it, though, once you puncture it and you squeeze some out and use it, put the lid back on, put it in your refrigerator, but it'll still last a very, very long time. So this is a new one. If I need it, I will use it. Also, if you like things just a wee bit interesting, I would put a little teeny dab. Don't get carried away, just a few little drops when you're mixing up everything into your crock pot, okay? Sriracha, it's popular over here. I'll put a couple drops in my scrambled eggs, and I'll put a couple drops in my spaghetti sauce. I'll put some in my chili, but I never get very heavy-handed with it because it can go hot really fast. So I just put a teeny bit, and you don't really taste it in the, you know, when you eat my ratatouille, you're not going to go, oh wow, I really taste the sriracha in it. You're not even going to know it's in there. It's just one more dimension, okay? We're going to have some sugar handy, and why is that? Okay, if I taught you this before, maybe I didn't. Tomato-based products can cause some people acid reflux and an acid feeling in the throat, and really digestion problems. And if you take just a teaspoon or a tablespoon, depends on how sweet you can handle, but it neutralizes the acid and it brings it more alkaline, okay? So we're going to put that into our sauce too, just a little bit. We don't get carried away with anything, just a little bit. But you know why? New cooks, do you know why? Because you can always add a little bit more, but you can't take it out. The only difference, the only time when that rule of thumb is wrong is when you're cooking potatoes. Oh, if you're making a soup, okay, here's a good hint. If you're making a soup and you didn't intend to put potatoes in it, but you take your tasting spoon, and never double dip, please, when you're finding out. I have like a big spoon like this that I stir with, and then I'll have my tasting spoon, and I'll take a little bit out and I'll drop it from above into my tasting spoon and taste it. Now, all good cooks do this throughout the cooking process, because then you can adjust the seasonings, okay? If you made a mistake and you do your testing of your soup or your stew and it is so so salty that you're like, oh my God, I just ruined my whole pot. Nope, you didn't. Take potato, peel it up, cut it in like 4 or 5 big chunks, and drop it in, stir it into the soup or stew, and let it cook. And it's going to absorb a lot of salt. If you cook those potatoes down and you take them out and you retest your soup or stew and it's still real salty, you might have to do it again. But usually one potato will absorb all the salt that you have overdone. That's why I just do a little bit at a time. Okay, so I'm going to put this on pause and get myself something to eat, okay? Alrighty, I love you. Hang in there. We're getting close. So here's the bell peppers now that they've been roasted. And I can't tell you what time. Just keep an eye on them. And when they look like they're soft but not all the way mush. Now one of these got really super soft, but that's okay. A couple of them did. The smaller pieces did. That's okay. So you might ask yourself, what is ratatouille and why do I want to eat it? It is a rustic vegetable stew, and it, like I told you before, it started in France, and it's so delicious. The flavors are sweet, but not like dessert sweet. And it's amazing. And so it's good as a side dish. Maybe you have your roasted chicken or pork chops or anything, you know, that you need a side vegetable dish. You can serve it like on the side. I like it with some pasta because it has a little tomato base. So I like it with a little bit of pasta. If you have crusty Italian bread, excuse me, I got black pepper up my nose because it's sitting here and the fan blew the black pepper up my nose. I have to shut it. And boy, my rubbish bin has gotten really very full with cutting all these vegetables and throwing stuff on the ground. What is that other thing? What is that? I don't know what that is. It's creeping me out. Anyhow, oh, I know, it's the lid to the basil. My basil grinder, the lid is on the floor. Okay, so I had my Pop-Tart lunch. Having some water. And more about ratatouille. It's like spaghetti or chili. It will taste yummier the second day out. So usually we say we're going to let it cool off and we're not going to eat it until tomorrow. And then it smells so good that we just can't stand it, so we eat a little bit at supper time. But yeah, if all your herbs have a chance to mingle together in the refrigerator overnight, of course let it cool off after you cook it in the crock pot. Let it cool completely. You don't want to have it raise the temperature in your refrigerator when you put it in. But and some people just leave it sit out on the counter because it's just vegetables and it's not really going to spoil per se. I like it a little bit on inside an omelet. Very good. My friend, she just ate it with some hot rice. Of course, over here we eat everything with a little bit of hot rice. So right now I have the tomatoes and the eggplant on the top shelf, and on the bottom shelf, excuse me, I got the zucchini. So what I'm going to tell you is basically we're pretty much done. What I'm going to do when I get everything else, these last two pans cooked, is I'm going to let them cool off a little bit. But once they're cooled off a little bit, I will put some of the eggplant and tomatoes in the bottom, and then I'll put some of this, and then I'll put some of the zucchini, and then I'll repeat. And I'll kind of just gently, gently, gently stir them with my big spoon. You saw my big spoon. I will gently fold them over so that they combine. And then I will probably put just a little bit of this. Just a little bit, just to keep everything moist, and I'll gently fold them. And I'll put it in the crock pot, and that's all there is to it. I'll put it on low for 2 hours, and that's going to be that. Okay? So, like I said, if you want to add sriracha, just put a little bit in with your spaghetti sauce, or your marinara sauce, I should say. I started using that because it's better than using canned tomato sauce, because the can, some of that chemicals can leach out of the can into the tomatoes because of the acid in the tomato. But have some tomato paste handy in case it looks like it's too runny. Then just put a little bit of tomato paste and gently fold it in and let it cook for a little while. Add about a couple teaspoons of sugar. Stir it in. But basically now it's just all throwing it all together, but doing it so gently and letting it cook for a couple hours, and you're good to go. And so please have fun with this. Let me know in your comments if you think that you can do this. If you have any questions that maybe I didn't cover something, let me know. Like I said, I think that the majority of people prefer the Italian flavor of the Italian herbs than to the French. But if you have tasted herbs de Provence, I don't know how to say it without saying it with an accent. If you've tasted things with that, like thyme, and I think it's got rosemary, thyme, marjoram, other stuff. If you like those flavors, then go for it. Get yourself some herbs de Provence and give it a try that way too. And by all means, if you make this, come back to this video and please, please, please leave a comment on how it turned out. If you had problems and it didn't, you didn't like it, try to describe to me what it was about it that you didn't like, and I'll help you try to iron out that problem so you can do it again another time. This could also be adapted. You could also put chunks of cooked chicken breast in it and serve it over spaghetti, linguine, pasta of any kind, rigatoni. You can do so much with it. People eat it cold as hors d'oeuvres on the little crusty bread. Anyhow, I want you to just have fun with it. And I put a picture on the Chatterbox of one of my previous batches of ratatouille that was really tasty. So yeah, you don't have to put a splash of wine in it. You don't have to even use this. If you don't want to use marinara sauce, use just a little bit of like crushed tomatoes. Crushed tomatoes would work. So yeah, use fresh garlic. Just have fun with it. Make it your own. Make it the way you think your family's going to like it. And I sure hope you love it as much as we do. Anyhow, I'm going to say aloha for now. I know this video has been so long, and I'm sorry. But sometimes when you learn from Grandma how to cook, you got to listen to all the stuff that Grandma needs to tell you. Okay? I love you guys so, so very much. And once again, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and the little bell so that you can find out when I make new videos. And also, if you give a girl a thumbs up, I would sure love that. Please. And thank you so much for dropping in and cooking with me today. Aloha! Mwah!